welcome to my channel. I am the Bloody Baroness, and this is Eerie Echoes. So this happened in 2013. This kid named Ricky moved in next door to me when he was around 12. And for lack of a better term, this kid was pretty much a pussy. I remember one time he fell on his skateboard and didn't land hard at all and was crying his little heart out in my driveway when he was like 16. So fast forward to when this kid is like 18. By then, I'm selling coke and molly pretty heavily, and he's one of my best customers. By now, he's hanging out with some pretty shady people, which my parents obviously aren't fans of. My parents also didn't know I was selling anything because I was pretty good at keeping it under wraps. Ricky was clearly a follower. He went from the skater/emo type to some wannabe thug, which he just wasn't built for. So my parents go to the Outer Banks, North Carolina, every year for 2 weeks and ask if I'll come stay at the house while they are gone, which I was excited about because their house is pretty much better than the shitty little one-bedroom apartment I had at the time. So everything was going fine at the house. I had my on and off girlfriend over all the time, and there were quite a bit of drugs and alcohol going on. I was far from a saint back then. I'll never forget it. It was a Thursday night. My girlfriend had left a few hours ago. I should say earlier that day Ricky had seen me out front of my parents and asked for a front. I told him no, considering I never fronted anyone, and in all honesty, had been using too much of my own shit, so couldn't afford to. He didn't like that very much, and we got in an argument, and I pretty much punched him in front of all his little friends. So by now, it's like 2 a.m, and I'm obviously nowhere near tired because of all the coke and molly. I'm sitting in the dark watching Netflix in this den/side living room of my parents had in the downstairs, which is a window going outside, which I had opened. I had paused the TV and was on my phone texting and on Facebook when I hear something. It's the screen of my window slowly being slid up. I know the sound. I had snuck in and out of this house numerous times growing up. So I slowly get up and watch the window. I clearly see the screen moving very slowly up through the curtains. So I walk up to the window, and as soon as I move the curtain, at least 3 or 4 people scatter. I run out front, but they are booking it down the street. I knew it was that kid Ricky and his friends. I didn't see them, but I knew it was those shitheads. I didn't call the cops or anything because I wasn't exactly living on the right side of the law. So I just go back in and lock everything up, and for the rest of the week, it goes smooth. I never told my parents about it, and I also never seen Ricky again. Called him a few times, which he never answered, which was all the more reason to know it was him. And he knew that I knew. So like a month goes by, and I'm watching the news, and Ricky is on it for murder, which blows my mind. Him and 3 of his friends went out of town, broke into some old couple's home, beat them, tied them up, then stabbed them. Then they burnt down the house after robbing it. They all ended up telling on each other. He got sentenced to 35 years for testifying against his co-defendants. Makes me wonder, if I was asleep when they got in, what could have happened? Here's a link to the news story, and when I go to my parents' house later, I'll take pictures of his house